Hey everyone, it's a bit late, but I did want to make this video discussing how Juice can mechanically break the game, and how he's overpowered, but I think in his own special way. So his banner is about to be gone by the time I'm making this video. If you've watched after today's reset, then he's now gone. But for the time being, he's got a couple more hours. I still don't think you should summon on this guy, not just for the fact that Mimi exists and the track record. He's already like, I was gonna say 2 units past, but he's actually just technically 1 unit past. But as the units go on, he's just gonna get dated, because that's just how this game works. So now apparently, so again, I just think you should summon on Mimi over him. He's definitely an interesting character, and this video is going to showcase why. But yeah, I don't know, he's not much of a problem that I thought he'd be. For reference, I play against him. Personally, I don't own him, but I do play against him a lot in PvP, and never once have I avoided a team that has him. And that has been the case with every unit since Raws for me. I've avoided teams with every new unit that's come out for a while. Then I finally get to play against them. But for that while, I definitely avoid teams with those characters. And PETELGEUSE is definitely one I've never avoided. All you have to do is really just kill the rest of the team and then kill him last. There are teams that can complement him, and that could definitely work for him and against your favor. But that's really only if you're running that team. Again, if you're against the AI, this guy's not really a threat. At least he never has been to me. I want to go over his kit really quick so you can get a quick refresher before we look into why he can mechanically break the game in certain instances. And so yeah, so leader skill, basically anything PvE, 35% attack. This doesn't work for PvP. This might not work for certain PvE content in the future, but for now, this looks to be looking like it works for everything. There's also Ricardo in the game. Respect right here. Notes, Juice's leader skill does work in event dungeons. Ricardo's leader skill is still limited to just regular dungeons. So there is a bit of a difference with Ricardo's skill, because Ricardo is also story I don't know how it's specifically worded. I guess we could just look at it. It's like story attack 35% up or something like that. It's right here. Allies story attack 35%. So basically sort of the same thing, but not really. Like the event stuff, it just doesn't work. So you definitely want PETELGEUSE. He's definitely really solid. Leader skill, he's basically a better Subaru, because Subaru does the same thing he does, but with 30% attack. So having that little boost is nice, but I think I'd just wait until I get this unit. But when I do get this unit, I'm going to be very happy because of that leader skill. Then he's got 14k HP, 1400 attack. So these two in comparison to normals, these are pretty good, I would say. This is, solid DPS numbers. Other than this, HP is definitely high for, someone that has really good DPS. So that's definitely a good combo to have. He's got 700 defense, 155 agility, crit rate 50, crit damage 120, debuff chance 40, debuff resistance 35%. So 40% is pretty nice, I would say. Then he's got taunt on his basic. Then he's got, as his passive, we should all know this by now, he revives on death for 100% max HP, self-invincibility for 1 turn, attack for 3 turns, increases attack for 3 turns, reduce all allies cooldowns by 10 turns. So basically anyone who is up to bat is about to ultimate, basically about to use their S2, which is really good. Then they have reduce all enemies gauge by action, or reduce all enemies action gauge by 100%. So the little bar that fills up to tell who goes first, there's resets completely to 0. So they're basically starting over and your team's already still built. So that's just really nice. But again, you have to make this guy be the first one to die, and that taunt is really good on his passive, but it's only 1 turn, and you have like this kit right here, which shouldn't be ignored. So I don't know, it's kind of whatever. The taunt isn't too strong on its own. Then skill 2, hit a single enemy with a physical attack 10 times, 180% power each. Then 100% chance to remove 1 buff and inflict buff seal and debuff resistance reduction for 2 turns per hit to all enemies. So I'm going to showcase why his kit is so unbelievably broken for certain things. So first of all, hit single enemy 10 times, chance to remove 1 buff. This means each hit in the 10 hits can remove 1 buff. So if you have the best luck in the world, the best stats in the world, you can remove 10 full buffs from any given enemy, and that includes invincibility. That should just be a given. Literally any buff. So that in its right is insane. Then you have inflict buff seal and debuff res reduction. They can't buff, and their debuff resistance is lowered for 2 turns per hit to all enemies. 10 times you hit the enemy, you have a chance to apply each of these. So these aren't a combo. Each has their own percentage of which can be applied. If you get unlucky, you can only apply 1, and but this is 10 times you have this chance to apply both of these, each of those, and it applies to all enemies. That's just insane to me. I have some examples pulled up here. Switch over here. I don't have Juice, but I had someone record these some of these for me. I'm gonna mute this one because we're gonna watch this one in slow motion. This is an example of him removing singular buffs at a time. So you can see each hit removes the buff. So we're going backwards here. So let's just start it over. We'll watch it in slow motion. Now then I'll go frame by frame. And then remove, and then see midway through he's removed the invincibility. So if you're lucky enough to remove that invincibility first hit, the rest of the 9 hits can hit. That is just insane. So each hit after that hits. So he is pretty unlucky. Invincibility is the last one to be removed. Then he still gets, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks to be 4 or 5 hits still. That's really good. And then he gets countered, I believe. But that is just really good. Just look at that. Of course, Krush still has that buff from her passive. And then he doesn't get any hits because he's using Raws. And then we have the death mechanic. Just to showcase. Resets every single bar to 0. So now it's his turn, basically, essentially. And he also gets invincibility. And then he's hit Raws with both the debuffs, and everyone else in the party gets them. I'm not sure if everyone in the party has separate chances, or whatever debuffs are applied on this enemy apply to the rest. I think that is answered in this next clip. Because Juice here, again, hits both debuffs here. He shows the stats. And then this crystal is also debuffed. So they're separate chances. Every character has their separate chances, it seems. By the way, keep in mind this is the 85k. So yeah, Juice is just insane in the mechanics that he can abuse in the game. And there's even one more thing that I did not get footage of, but I've talked about in other videos, and it is that there's a memory that makes him so stupidly overpowered. I don't know what instances you can really abuse this in, because I think in PvP, this would just be overkill to an insane degree. So PvE might be the place for this, but it is this one. Speak of a lucky guy. It is Felix and Krush. This memory, you apply this memory, it gives, is it 19 attack and then 23 attack, 23% attack. And then when you get gold, when attacking, there is a 100% chance that the enemy will be inflicted with damage over time for 2 turns. So you get incredibly lucky, hit all of your hits, and every single one applies. You can put 10 damage over time debuffs on your enemy for 2 turns. That is wild. Every time your opponent, I think it ends the turn, it is going to take 10 damage over time hits every single time. This is wild. This is just basically mega nuking, but you just have to wait for them to end their turn. It is insane theoretically. I have yet to get the gameplay for this, but I can only imagine how hard this will hit. I believe we have these pinned. We have what the debuff does. Let's see if I have damage over time. At the start of the turn, you'll receive a certain percentage of damage based on maximum HP. So this is 5%. So you're taking 50% of your health down every turn. That is insane. So if you get hit with it, which uses S2, and you're lower than 50%, say goodbye to that character. And he has this memory, of course. Say goodbye to that character. Has some insane potential, and I think it has definitely its uses somewhere in PvE down the line with events and whatnot. A lot of bosses are immune to damage over time, but I think if you find one that isn't, you can really abuse this. Yeah, so I wanted to make this video a lot sooner, but I was waiting on that gameplay, and then Golden Week happened, and there was a bunch of stuff and things, and I kind of just like put this video to the side, but I finally made it, and I hope it's not too late. At least if you guys have him and you have this memory gold, you can kind of abuse this, try it out, test it for me, see what happens. But theoretically, this could be one of the dirtiest combos in the game, entire game. I do think he's kind of mid or not for PvP, but it is what it is. So I see you guys in the next video. Later.